Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Kuhn here again from Paleo Primal Island and MikeTheCaveman.com. And today's question, oh boy, I may open a can of worms today, but today's question is the allostatic load the missing link to police brutality? Alright, first of all, I would like to express my deepest condolences to the families of Philandro Castile and Alton Sterling. Let's be very clear and let's get that out of the way. What happened there in both of those instances did not need to happen, and that's what we'll be talking about today. But here's the thing. The psychological stress of a job that's filled with uncertainty, poor nutrition, lack of sleep, shift work is the perfect storm. Just absolute perfect recipe to build psychological and emotional distress, anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, cognitive impairment, and poor decision making. We've talked about the allostatic load before. You know, it's the amount that you can take before finally you break. Each of those stresses compound on each other until eventually the officer breaks and we end up with one of these tragedies. Let me be very clear. I am not defending the officers in either the Castile or the Sterling cases. What I am looking for is the root cause that can have actionable solutions. That is what is at the heart of functional medicine. Look for the root causes and address them. Are there racist cops? Absolutely. But so far this year, there have been 509 deaths by police, 123 of which have been black, 79 Hispanic, 23 other, 46 unknown, and 238 of them have been white. Last year, in 2015, 990 people were killed by cops. 256 were black, 172 were Hispanic, 38 were other, 28 were unknown, and 494 were white. Yes. Black Lives Matter. This runs deeper than race. Setting up a civil war based on race and or job description, and we are doomed to failure. We talk all the time about how poor diet, lack of sleep, sun exposure, movement, and psychological stresses can impair physical health. But those subsequent imbalances in hormones and neurotransmitters can impair both cognitive functioning and decision-making ability. And unfortunately, in the case of police officers, this isn't just losing your will and going out and eating a donut. Their job description includes carrying a gun in a fight-or-flight situation, and all too often that leads in tragedy. Now, my solution, and I use that term very, very loosely, is to look at and institute nationwide a program being partially directed by Paleo Godfather Rob Wolf called the Specialty Health Risk Assessment Program. Now, in Reno, Nevada, they are running that program with police officers to help bring down the cost of health care and save the city money. However, rather than focusing exclusively on their health and longevity, we could reappropriate a lot of those same nutritional and lifestyle factors and help them to manage the hairpin trigger that a lot of officers are currently operating on. Deal with the stress to manage the hormonal and neurotransmitter imbalances that can cause an officer to make the wrong decision. One thing I would add to that program that's not currently being implemented is the inclusion of mandatory martial arts, particularly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and or MMA training, for a number of reasons. First of all, it would help obviously with dealing with the stress and releasing of aggression. It would help with providing them with tactical alternatives to reaching for that gun. And finally, a lot of people that gravitate towards the police officer profession, unfortunately, a lot of them have egos. Now, we see that a lot coming into our MMA gyms. But I'll tell you right now, the vast majority of the people that come in with egos very promptly walk back out with their ego tucked between their legs within minutes of getting a couple of minutes rolling on the mat. So let's be very clear on some things today. What's happening right now and has been happening is a major tragedy. It's not okay. But the problem is that we are too quick to reach for the easy solution. We need to look at what is causing it, all right? Just like I always say, don't just necessarily cover things up with a pillow or a Band-Aid. We need to get to the root cause. Why are these officers so apt to reach for that trigger? It's easy to say that it's because of race. And is that a component? Absolutely. But is that the end-all be-all? No. It is a very stressful job that requires a very specific type of person who can deal with that stress. Otherwise, if those stresses compound, it's way too easy to break and we end up with another tragedy. So rather than focusing on inciting violence, I think it's super important that we get to the root cause. Deal with what is going on in the minds of these officers while it's happening. Why are they in such a fight or flight mode? Alright guys, like I said, this was a tough one. I know I'm going to get a lot of brushback, and yeah. Hopefully this helped you think about things a little bit differently, and maybe we can start to come find a middle ground. If so, you know what to do. Like and subscribe down below. Share it with your friends. Head over to Instagram and Twitter. Follow me at Mike the Caveman over on Paleo Primal Island on Facebook, of course over on MikeTheCaveman.com. That being said, again, I wish my deepest sympathies to the families of Castile and Sterling, as well as the officers who were slain in Dallas. And just, we don't need this. We can't have this. We can't be having another civil war. That's not what this country needs. I try and stay out of the political things too much, but we need a solution. I'll see you tomorrow, guys.